Hey, you guys, and welcome to the Steele Hyperchat. It is Wednesday, the 10th of March, 2021. How you doing? Yesterday's show. What can be said? What can be said? Except you're on notice, laptop. You are on notice. Oh my God. Lidra says, gasp, everything works. We'll see. We will see. Lidra actually does some pretty good Star Wars art on her Twitter address. So post up your Twitter address, Lidra, and I'll put it up on the screen so everyone can check that out if you want. Hey, today on the show, we are talking about, let's get this up. There was a Disney investor call with some big issues brought up. We've got Rian Johnson. He's talking Ben Solo possibilities in a, if he was to do it in episode 9. And then for a bit of fun, you guys, Mark Hamill talking about his number one Star Wars cringe moment. Lidra says, thank you, Steele. There you go. There's Lidra's address on Twitter. Alf Faddle. Faddle. ELFADELL. Justin just won't let it go. One day since. Let's see. Don't jinx us. Hey, so there was a Disney investors call yesterday. Let's go to the Variety.com report on it. Disney CEO addresses Gina Carano Mandalorian firing. Lucasfilm chief's future at stockholders meeting. Walt Disney co-CEO Bob Chapek was questioned by shareholders about Gina Carano's firing from The Mandalorian when cruise ships would set sail again. When will we hit the high seas? And the future of Lucasfilm chief Kathleen Kennedy at the Entertainment Giants annual shareholders meeting on Tuesday. It's been a tumultuous first year atop Disney for Chapek, who took the reins from Bob Iger in Feb 2020, shortly before COVID-19 upended the entertainment landscape. And yet it's also been a 12-month period that saw Disney shares surge on the growth of its streaming offerings. Chapek noted that Disney stock went from $79 a year ago to $200 this week. Oof. If you are an investor, hats off to you. Cash out. It could keep going up. Hey, the other thing, a big thing, Disney Plus, 100 million subscribers. 100 million subscribers worldwide, which prompted Bob Chapek to say that they hope at Disney Plus to be producing 100 original series or bits of content, not bits of content, but different projects in an upcoming year. 100, which they have a lot of different properties, they're doing it, but that could mean a lot of Star Wars. I feel like one Star Wars thing a quarter is a good, very hectic, but good pace. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy to think that we were all worried about Disney flooding the cinemas with too many Star Wars films. And as it turns out, it could end up being that on streaming. Just a constant flood. But hey, if they do it right. So I actually hope that very few of those 100 per year would be Star Wars, because for my level of excitement, and probably yours, some people just give us more. But like once a quarter, it's good to build up, build down, have a little break in between, dwell on what we've seen, look forward to new stuff. Chapek, I'll read this bit out because it leads into the next bit. Chapek noted the political polarization taking place in the country after a year has seen historic civil rights protests as well as fiercely contested presidential race that ended with false claims by former President Donald Trump of election fraud. The fact is that we have a tremendous opportunity now to bring this country together and unite people, Chapek said. One thing we can all agree on is the power of Disney to unite us all. All right. Maybe. And yet, even on the shareholders' call, signs of that political chasm were on display. Chapek was asked about the company's decision to fire the Mandalorian star Gina Carano after she made a series of statements on social media that likened contemporary political differences to the treatment of Jews in Nazi Germany. Chapek didn't directly address the Carano situation, but he did push back against any suggestion of an ideological bias. I don't really see Disney characterizing itself as right-leaning or left-leaning, Chapek said. He said that Disney was interested in standing for values that are universal, such as decency and integrity, as well as in making content that is reflective of the rich diversity of the world that we live in. So I think if you are right-leaning, it's not a good thing to say that some of the things that Gina backed on social media are part and parcel of your political belief. At the end of the day, not even an apology. She kind of, like, her decisions after her firing kind of, like, they were so drastic with who she chose to be in business with that I don't know. I don't think anyone's second guessing that decision. Don't become that you're accused of being, if that's not you. Let's go down to The Mandalorian is a creation of Jon Favreau, the director of Jungle Book and Iron Man. It has also been a breakout hit for Lucasfilm at a time when some of its big screen Star Wars efforts have been met with diminished box office and a less ardent critical embrace. You know, the thing is, over the 5 films, $1 billion each. So it rounds out. Not bad. Not a bad, like when you're looking at someone's body of work, $1 billion a film, sure, The Force Awakens carries the load for Solo, but this is the thing. If you believe that someone is responsible for the quality of the projects, and in your opinion, they swing and they miss, and then on the next one or the one after you love, do you say, well, they made one thing or two things that I didn't like, but now this is lining up with me? Or you then try to deny they had everything to do with one thing, but nothing to do with another. It is just bizarre. So, but very 2021, 2020. But yes, one shareholder asked if Kennedy, who has run Lucasfilm since 2012, would be fired and replaced with Favreau, which making a TV show a very good one is a lot different to running a giant media studio. Chapek declared himself absolutely thrilled with Kennedy's performance. We look forward to having Kathy directing the activities of the entire Lucasfilm operation for many years to come. Which, let's be clear. If you've been watching YouTube videos where they're saying that she's been fired secretly already, is going to be fired, and if this or these YouTube channels have been saying that thing every month for 3 years, maybe you're getting fed a line, or it's just a dramatized version of how they wish things were to be. But, you know, this is nothing new, this sort of news. But at least they go to the trouble of printing up the National Enquirer. You know what I'm saying? They've got to print it out. There's an effort. It's not just posting a YouTube video. And like as far as films, I see a bit of chatter about this sometimes, as the other two sequel films not matching The Force Awakens. Like, you know, it was like 2 billion and then, you know, over 1 billion, but not past the 1.5 billion. It's like you don't understand the cultural phenomenon that The Force Awakens was. To come back, it's true, all of it. Chewie, we're home. Harrison Ford, Carrie, Mark Hamill returning. The story that we all wanted to see. Like the delay that we got an answer to what happened after Return of the Jedi on the big screen, that is the end game of Star Wars films. That was the culmination of fan interest over all the time. And they were beautiful days. They were beautiful days. If I wanted to make things up that served my point of view, I would say that Bob, not Bob. Yeah, it is Bob. I don't know why I didn't think it was Bob. Might be saying she's done a fantastic job because she knows of how quickly old Bobby I is trying to rush out these films, which is part of the reason I worry about them pumping out too many Star Wars things per year. Star Wars is tough. It means so much to so many. We all view it in different ways. Yeah, Lidra is right. Lol, they're both Bob. That's why I was second guessing. I was like, they can't both be Bob. James Waterman, there's always a bigger Bob. Bob is a requirement, says Jason. The Bob job. Who's next for the Bob job? Anyway, so what we can take away from that is going to see a lot more Star Wars, and for the immediate future, the mid to immediate future, they're all going to have a produced by Kathleen Kennedy credit on them. So there you go. Hey, bit of sizzle for tomorrow. Corey Thursdays will be at 4 p.m. on Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and get there for the start, because I am going to unleash the new Corey Thursday theme song, an intro video at the start of the show to Corey. And it's not bad. It's not bad. Justin LaRose says, the Book of Bob. Leidra says, change your name to Bob, then you can make your Toro series Steele. Oof. If only. If only. Also, before we get to the next story, this is an all-access audio version. We do these videos Monday to Thursday, most every afternoon, Pacific time. But if you want the audio versions as well as all this other bonus content and over 800 back episodes direct to your iPod feed, and just to support the channel, go to patreon.com/Steele Wars. And this episode is on the normal feed this week to remind the normal feed people of all the content that they could be enjoying. Elijah Neal says, hey, a theme song. I wonder if it's better than the Toro Watch song. Oh, we'll see. We will see. Leidra says, nothing can be better than the Toro Watch song. All right. Love it. Love it. Hey, Ciara Wilson, who I think I had said was Sarah Wilson on a couple of weeks back. She is a best-selling author and a US Today best-selling author who won some charity auctions to speak to people in Hollywood. It would. I don't really know who else there. Oh, Mark Hamill was involved. I don't know if it was the Star Wars people or what, but she won for Daisy Ridley and Rian Johnson, and she had this hour-long private conversation over Zoom, and they knew she was going to do this. She's tweeting out some details of her conversations and doing some good stuff, some good questions. And I'll pop this up here just so if you want to check out the feed, because she's got heaps of details on these conversations and the things that Ryan and Daisy revealed about their Star Wars-ness experience. It's Ciara Wilson, at Ciara Wilson, SARIAH. Thought it was Sarah, but bad motivators. Or it might have been on the Sith list. But Eric Struthers pronounced it Ciara. So I'm going with that. Because he's far more, he's a better speaker than I. But let's talk about what they talked about. Ciara says, meet Rian Johnson. If you had written 9, totally hypothetically, just for fun, for our own edification, there he's setting the parameters here, would you have killed Ben or gone for his redemption? Ryan didn't want his answer to sound like a dodge, but he said he genuinely couldn't answer the question. Not because he's not allowed to answer, but because he doesn't know. That's a story that defines itself when you get your hands into the dirt and start working with it. And he never did that with 9. He would only be able to answer that question if he'd done it, and he didn't. Oh, getting confused now. He said, had he written it, the object of 9 would be to bring it to a satisfying conclusion, but he can't say what that would have been. I told him as a romance writer, the ending was 100% unsatisfying for me. That I didn't want another Vader sacrifice, that I would have preferred Ben alive and atoning for his mistakes and making amends. I'm with Ciara on that. I said I would have turned him into the first act of Tross. I said I would have turned him in the first act of Tross, in large part to get all those awesome Poe Finn Ben interactions as he helps the Resistance. Ryan took me seriously, and we went over what he would have looked like. What that would have looked like. I told him part of me wished he would have had Kylo and Rey run off together at the end of 8. He said that at the end of 8, with her closing a door between them, was a purposeful so that it would take a journey for them to come back together. He wondered if Ben turning early in 9 would have felt earned. Would it feel honest and genuine from where we leave him in 8? He said, I made him consider something that I'd made him consider something he'd never considered before, and that would have picked up in 9 with him turning turns. He felt like 9 was going to be the story of Ben being redeemed, that we all assumed that the first movie was him and his father, the second movie was him and Ray, and the third movie would be him and Ray too, but his mother would be a key element. I think when he turned, per se, in The Rise of Skywalker was about the right time. I wish there was more of it and the ending was different, but I felt like at that sort of 2/3 in, definitely not in the first half hour or whatever, but I feel like when they did it worked. And there's many ways to lay it out, but I definitely think doing it right at the end would be too Return of the Jedi, not enough meat. But I wish they'd sort of fleshed it out a little bit and had a more hopeful ending for him. But Ciara continues, the other reason Rian Johnson can't say how he would have done 9 because of Carrie's passing. They had forged a connection when they made The Last Jedi, and it was an emotional blow for him to lose someone he loved. He thinks it made 9 have to change because of the assumption being that 9 would be Leia's movie and she would have played a pivotal role, which makes sense. The mother bringing Kylo back around. Now, this next bit, I love. The prequel hugging. It's a term. When I did the scene-by-scene breakdown of scoring of The Rise of Skywalker, I talked a lot about like hugging the prequels, giving them their props in the finale. Now, Ciara says this. Love this. I said it would have tied perfectly from the prequels if the original sin was Anakin being torn from his mother, Phantom Menace. The balance, the poetry would have been returning Ben to his mother. That even if they had him reunite with Chewbacca, it would have been enough for me as a viewer. That would have been nice. Ryan listened and chimed in with yes and yeah, and seemed to agree with my take. This didn't seem like new info to him. When he talked about her, you could hear in his voice how much he cared about her and missed her. I loved her as a fan. I can't imagine how hard this must have been for people that really knew her. So, again, thank you, Ciara, for this great insight. We did an episode a couple of weeks back on some of the Daisy Ridley stuff about there being a kiss scene, like whether they were going to use the kiss, and there was no, like, that was the scene. It wasn't changed around. So check that back. I think it's Daisy Ridley talks The Rise of Skywalker or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Then Mike Hinton says, love the prequels. That would have been great balance. That was, I want to go back to it, but it's like, you got to wrap it up with the start of the story, not the start of our viewing experience. That's my thing. Anyway, Mark Hamill. Love him. Luke Skywalker. He posted up, I'm getting this from the Hollywood Reporter. They're covering all the good social media, but I'll put this up on the screen. Mark Hamill, this makes me cringe every time I see it. I don't remember doing this in the movie. I think it's just an on-set production still. Otherwise, Obi-Wan wouldn't look so remarkably unconcerned. And it's the meme of Luke Skywalker looking directly into the shaft, the ignition area of the Skywalker saber. And the meme very brutally says, handed the most dangerous weapon in the galaxy, immediately points at face. Mark says, this makes me cringe every time. And the Hollywood Reporter does confirm he is correct. In the film, Luke does not look at the lightsaber as he does in the meme. Because I remember when I first saw that picture, I was like, it's weird I never noticed that in the film. So, good old Mark Hamill, huh? Good stuff. Hey, I think we did it, you guys. One day without a technical problem. Amazing. I'm thrilled. Are you thrilled? I got to tell you. This is why we do it. Apparently. Tomorrow, Corey Thursdays. It's going to be a good time. If you enjoyed listening to this on the podcast feed and you'd like to get this 4 times a week, plus a bunch of other bonus stuff, sometimes it's 5 times a week, in your podcast feed, patreon.com/Steele Wars, $3 a month, and it's very valued. Thank you so much. But, guys, for now, clearly this podcast has gone on
long enough.
So, respect the algorithm. Leave a comment if you're watching on delay. If you're listening on iTunes and going to Patreon's not your thing, 5-star review on iTunes. Love it. Appreciate it. Need it. Hope everyone has a great rest of the day. We'll see you tomorrow. And, hey, may that force be with you. Corey, tomorrow.